Saturday, 24th of January, 2026 at 11:35 a.m. here in Amsterdam, North Holland, the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Welcome once again to our Cosmic Journey. It is your Dev and Design podcast featuring two boys that are trying very hard to create the world's best astrology software and doing it. It's just going to take some time. I'm your designer, Jake. He's your engineer, Trey. Hello, Trey.
Hello, Jake.
It's a little cold. I guess the United States is incredibly cold.
Depending upon where you are.
Depending on where you are. But also, it's like cold. It was cold on the West Coast, but not as cold as it was like in the Southeast, where like the weather reports were like shelter in place. Like, it's too late already. The ice storm cometh. And I was like, of course, the Weather Channel is being incredibly extra about all of that. But, it's their right to do so.
Yeah.
So to all of our friends that are here listening in the southeastern United States, that is adorable. And looks like they're on a little date.
Yeah.
And they're not acknowledging your presence, which I appreciate. Anyways,
they don't like the viewer.
They don't wish you much luck with the ice storm. We do that. We do here in our Hope for all of you. So hopefully this episode warms you up. This episode's called Who Gave Her Permission? It is really going to be about permissions and a whole thing that's called May I? So Trey's going to talk a little bit about that. We have a philosophical point that is around what's called trust and connection in products. Why do I mention that it's a philosophical point? Well, it's usually where you and I, Mr. Henry, go rambling on. And the viewer might want to cut out of that if they haven't cut out already. But before we get to all of that, we always start with a check-in question. Mr. Henry, are you ready for it?
Yeah, I am as ready as I'll ever be.
Me too. Let's go. As the viewer may know, we don't talk about it very often on this podcast, but I, Jake Sukowski, am a huge fan of game shows, and one of the game shows that I like to watch is a kind of goofy little show that's on the BBC that's called The Hit List. And the whole idea of The Hit List is that you are listening to songs from the 2020s, 2010s, and back to see if you can guess the title and guess the artist. So my only question to you, Mr. Henry, and it's a very easy one. If you had to choose what your power decade was for your music, and you can choose what that means, your power decade, 2020s all the way back, what is your power decade for music? And why?
I think I have to say the 90s. But honestly, I think a lot of the music that I was into in the 90s was published and produced prior to the 90s, like some of it from the 80s. So
this is the problem with cusps. This is also a problem in astrology. Like, Trey has a cusp issue, right? Like, is it 90s music, but it was published in the 80s? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, and if you look at my chart, like I have, 5 planets on like within a couple of degrees of the zodiacal cusps.
So this makes perfect sense.
So I think because like I was thinking like, okay, what are sort of like the really, key bands for me, that I would, like, if they come on, I'm always into it, right? And I think I try not to get fixed in a particular musical era such that I can't appreciate newer music. But I would say that like The Cure, Suzanne Vega.
That's 90s. I think that's pretty solidly 90s.
Yeah. I mean, like some of the Suzanne Vega stuff is like late 80s.
Trey's power decade is unfortunately it's the lines are blurry between the 80s and the 90s here. So your power decade, okay, a decade is just 10 years. It doesn't have to be a 10 years that goes from zero to zero.
Yeah.
Your power decade is from 1985 to 1995.
Yeah, I would say that
like, seems right incredibly Trey.
Yeah.
Right there. Like, so, okay, your power decade, 85 to 95. My power decade.
How about you?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. My power decade, of course, is 1970s.
Yes.
I will absolutely go from 1970 to 1980.
Yeah.
I can't name a lot of songs, nor can I name a lot of artists, but I can tell you that if you play a song in the 70s, I lose my mind.
Yeah.
And like, look, hey, give me some Edison Lighthouse. I'm here for it.
Or the Seabird song.
Oh yeah, give me a Lessie. Give me some Seabird. Give me some Supertramp. I'm here for it. Like, come on, a Lessie or Supertramp or Edison Lighthouse. Like, I'm here for it. Yeah, 70s.
Definitely 70s for you.
I was born too late. Absolutely. If I was a young man in the 70s, it would have been absolutely perfect. Yeah, I was probably born about 15 years too late, which makes me, an old soul. That makes perfect sense. Good check-in, everybody. Hey, everyone, let us know what your power decade is in the comments. I will, of course, respond to all of them, and we love seeing all of your comments every single week.
Yeah.
As always, Mr. Henry, do you want to talk a little bit about what promises are all about and what entitlement? We've already talked a little bit about entitlements, but you're going to now show a little bit of what this is going to look like. But before we get to that, do you want to just reintroduce the good viewer to what you are going to be talking about today?
Yeah, so what we're going to show is how we can enable features for users within an environment. But this all comes wrapped up with how we handle entitlements in the system so that everybody has access to some things, but some people have access to other things. One exciting footnote to this as well is that we will now be able to do a beta release.
Yes.
For our sort of all of you probably watching this who are interested, because we can get early features in your hands before they are broadly available.
And this is a blessing and a curse. So the blessing is that you get to see new features as they are hot out of the oven. Yeah. Boy, piping fresh. But also, they might crap the bed.
Yes.
And if you are depending on Cosmic as your primary astrology solution, first of all, good on you. I appreciate that. We love that.
Bold move.
Bold move, especially given these two bozos that are dealing with all of this.
Yeah, I mean, it says preview release right in the title.
And we've made very clear that, we may crap the bed. And so if you are so adventurous as to wanting more chances to show us what crapping the bed looks like from a software solution, write us at hello@cosmic.plumbing. We would love to get you as part of the beta track, which means that the software will be a little less stable, but you'll get things piping hot.
Yeah. So it's very exciting because this gives us the ability to do this. But I'll give a little bit of a demo here. Yeah, so this is the upper left corner. This is the app. It says Electron here because it's actually running in development, but this is the app as you would run it on your system after downloading it. This over here on the right is the web version. The web version is not widely available yet.
It will be one day.
But it will be very soon.
So upper left,
and then
upper right web, and then Trey's got to go open up Safari.
Safari is got the dashboard in it. So this is something that no user will ever see. This is just for us to.
And also, you should never use Safari, so it's perfect. So Safari is a web browser you should never see, and nor should you ever see the dashboard. Yeah.
I have the following browsers.
We have 3 separate browsers.
I have Chrome, I have Safari, and I have Firefox through Zen. And then we also, of course, have Chromium, which is Electron.
Look at what Trey does for the good viewer so that you can get you ache for these demos every single week. And Trey's here for you.
Yeah, exactly. So what I wanted to show with the dashboard here, though, is that we have these feature configurations. So in this case, we have a feature which we are currently working on, which is for sync and for our big V1 release. And we just call the feature login. The ability to log into the application. Very straightforward.
It's good that we name it that way.
Yeah, and then there's a little flagged field over here, which just currently says false. And
you can't log in.
Yeah, so we have in the actual application, so there's this long kind of what's called a globally unique ID or a GUID. This is this sort of key for this feature. And then in the code, we can say, does the user have access to this feature based on this code? And right now, I will tell you that there is a very not ready for prime time UI that is currently being hidden because this login feature is not currently turned on. However, if I press this little button here, which is
the big red button, giant red button, meaning danger, danger, danger. That's danger to us. You will never see that giant red button. That's for us.
Exactly. But I can turn this on for this environment. And you can see here, it already popped up in the web version, and it will show up here in the app version. There you go. And so now that this feature is turned on, you're seeing the current online status. And if I pop in here to settings, you will see that there is a login button.
We see that.
And now if I come back over here and I pop back in here and I turn this feature off again.
Now go quickly to that window.
Whoop!
You saw
gone.
it. You saw it.
This will also disappear here shortly.
You saw it. You witnessed it.
Yep.
it's gone.
Yeah. We hold on to our last known state of what you're able to do so that, if you have paid for the product and you've signed in, you have a bunch of entitlements. Those entitlements stay with you. And we only update them when we absolutely need to. I'm going to share one more thing.
Yeah. While you get that ready to show, I'll just say that gives us the ability for us to say you are entitled to do something, and therefore we can enable those things, and then you can go offline. Like you can go on an airplane or something like that, and you can still use the software. That's how we do all of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. If I were to take the server offline, which I unfortunately did not set myself up to do this easily, but you can just imagine.
Imagine Trey's pulling the wires out of the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Then this would show that that you are offline and that you are not authenticated as well. If you had signed in, for example, if I come over here and I sign in, so then you can see over here that I am actually online and authenticated. But if I took the server offline, you would see that I was offline, but still authenticated, meaning that my capabilities in the software, and also this would still be visible because my capabilities in the software, what I'm able to do in the software is based on my entitlements, which are stored.
Yep.
So this is really great because, like I said, this gives us the ability to start actually doing like beta launches of features, soft launches of features that you pay for.
One day if you want to pay for something, we can actually enable it for you. So you give us money, we say, sure, we'll go in, turn the switch on, and you're like, boop, it's all good. Ready to go.
Yep, exactly. And then just the final note on this horrible UI here.
Oh yeah,
this is me dropping something in place. So this is often how our development process will go. We don't always have design for things before they get implemented, and we don't need to. You can hook those train cars up however you want, whatever works for you, right? So when it comes to product development, so in this case, I have just dropped in this asset which allows us to see the core functionality. Jake has meanwhile worked on a UI for this, which we will then introduce.
And I can show you what that looks like in flight right now. So let me just go to my screen and I'll just show you kind of a little bit of what that looks like. What you're seeing here is Storybook, but the thing I want you to really look at is that weird little circle in the upper right-hand corner. That's not only going to tell you what the kind of logged in state is going to be, but also the status of what your connection is going to look like. It's not really well done. It's completely broken. Hey, that's the part of software development that is super fun.
This is just in development. We still try to do our best to make sure that even the stuff that's that's in flight but isn't currently turned on for users is still super rock solid.
Yeah.
We do our best.
We do our best. You know what?
Because there's just the two of us, sometimes there are things that people find that we just missed.
Sometimes our best is not good enough. That's okay.
And so then we just have to do our best to fix things. And they say that you should never turn your customers into testers. Honestly, when it comes to something as complicated as astrology, I don't think there's any other way.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit about like what it means in the 2025 era, like what it means, or sorry, 2026, excuse me, era.
Yeah. Well, 2025 too. Like, I think this is...
Yeah, the mid-2020s, that like, what does it mean to create something that is trustworthy? So let's get right to that, right? So...
Good segue.
Good segue. Good job, Trey.
So the topic is kind of what is the primary differentiator now and going into the future that we're in this world where, we have agentic AI that is enabling teams to have a much higher velocity, maybe not as high as the hype, but still higher than it used to be. You can sort of vibe code things very quickly now, and so particularly where you have sort of shallow product verticals, they get really saturated really quickly with a lot of players because the barrier is lower now, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly. The gates of code are now open up to a lot more people because either you can utilize vibe coding with your practice of code of like creating software engineering, or for people like dum-dums like me, I could just go and vibe code a whole lot of everything and just check what it did.
Yeah. And now whether or not, that's going to be a viable thing in the long term or whatever, like the point here isn't like, traditional engineering versus AI. The point here is that the thing that we think is really matters, these like as we're sort of rolling into the mid what is it, like
The mid-2020s.
mid 2020s, I guess, is that the thing that matters is the connection that customers feel that they have to the people that are making the products for them. And I think this has always been a little bit of the case, but it's really coming more and more to a forefront, I think. And you see this across everything, like all verticals, like including, musicians, artists, like there's an expectation that your audience is able to directly sort of like communicate with you, and you have a vulnerability to that. Like this idea that you have like the artist that's put up on the pedestal is kind of really disintegrating. People want to see that, like, oh, you wake up with bed hair too. And so when it comes to application development, the thing that really matters is, like, are you listening to your customers? Are you responding to them?
Are there human beings behind this facade of vibe coding and product creation that like actually care about customers and actually take in what customers say, listen to them, and do something about it that is meaningful towards them? Because I guess that's the point that Trey is really reinforcing here is, and something that the software industry needs to catch up, where artists really understood this. Like artists understood that they needed to have a personal connection with their fans. I don't think a lot of product teams fully understood that having a connection to their customers or their potential customers is what brand is going to look like in the mid-2020s.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody, like, we're all over it, like everybody's over like the Comcasts and the Apples and Apple's kind of a special situation because I think they actually do a pretty good job on this front. But like, but just
the Microsofts, the Oracles, the
megacorps, right? That are just these black boxes, and they treat people like crap. Jake is currently having Nike. We'll go ahead and call them out because my gosh, it's nightmare. He had shoes that were delivered to the wrong address. We've given them all of this information. They have just dug in their heels, literally, and they are like refusing to give. And the people who we're talking to, or who Jake's talking to, they are like super low paid.
They're mechanized. They just have a process and they're following a process.
Yeah. And you just feel like you're talking to a machine.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think everybody's over it.
And I think that's the point here, right? For as much as machines are helping us to create things that are valuable to us, whether we're creating them through vibe coding or utilizing them to like think, we can utilize ChatGPT as a good sparring partner to, think about our assumptions and all of that stuff. However, when things go wrong and when you actually need a genuine human connection, it's companies that step up with genuine human care and need. That is the thing that is probably going to serve very well in the late 2020s through 2030. And where in the past, you could say, I've got the right features, I've got the right product for you, that those differentiators are gone.
But, you were just, as you were talking too, I was just thinking about like astrology, like how astrology kind of, I think part of why, okay, so you're talking about the human to human connection, right? Like we've created all of these mechanisms in the modern era to make things more efficient and whatever. And I think it's gotten to a certain point now with AI where it's like hit this sort of inflection point where I think people are starting to say like, oh, it is actually the human connection that matters. It's like all of this stuff is about human connection. If you think about astrology as astrology is all about the human experience. And this is why, we would never do like an AI interpreted chart, and everybody who's doing AI interpreted astrology is failing miserably because nobody wants that.
No.
So I think
nobody wants a more efficient reading by a colder robot.
Yeah.
What people want are human connections.
Yeah.
They want to feel that there is a person on the other side of the line that cares. And to that end, like a very small thing happened with a company called Fastmail. I talked about them up in that episode up there where I was talking about how, it kind of stinks that like Fastmail does their dark mode emails wrong. They're a big corporation. They've got lots of different priorities. I think Trey delights in the idea that I have this kind of idyllic mind that says like, I'm just going to try. I'm going to try to reach out to them and show them that I am going to put forth the energy to say, this is wrong. This is something that you can fix. And here, let me give you all the data in order to fix it and just see what they're going to do about it. And so I opened up a support ticket with them. And I even said something like, you're changing the styles of males in dark mode. So everything is very direct because I wanted to be as clear as possible. And I explained the problem. You are changing the styles of things in emails. They're happening to my emails, but they're happening to other people's emails as well. And I can even show, and I gave them a bunch of examples of this stuff, but I showed them an example that we have seen previously on our program. So you can see I've taken out a lot of the kind of personal information in this, but you can see that where I've pointed a bunch of red arrows to be like, look, yuck, this is gross. And I wanted to be humorous. Like if you got anything from me in our brand, we are cheeky, but rigorous, right? Hello, thanks for reaching out. We can't promise anything.
That's from them.
This is from them, right?
That's a response to this. So already they have written a handwritten response.
And they said like, you can create, so we need you to like show us these emails. Can you create this folder and do this for you? Okay, fine. I've done this for you. And I explained like, I've done some investigation. I think it's this thing here. And then they came back 16 days later and like, yeah, we fixed it. You're like, what? And this has been a problem for years. And of course, like I end this thing by like, y'all, my goodness, what a company to actually have a human to human connection here. And it seems like it's something that's old fashioned, that went out of style because of scale, that's coming back in style again, because the scale issues of like, we need to put all of our resources towards technical product development because that's where people care. That constraint now is being lessened a little bit by AI, but now the constraint is because everything is agentic and everything is talking to a machine, the more that you can talk to a human being, the more trustworthy it feels. That yes, we do know that you are powered a bit by AI or by robots, but the moment that like I'm asking for something human and you deliver me something human, those are going to be the trustworthy moments in new brands that are going to accelerate brands from the 2020s into the 2030s. And that's our overriding philosophy in what we're doing at Cosmic.
I mean, we would be doing that anyway because it's just our philosophical belief, but we also...
but now we know that it makes sense for a business.
Yeah, it makes sense for a business. And I think that we just happened to be taking this kind of approach to how we're building our business at a point in time where that's kind of what you have to do almost.
Yeah. So thank you for listening to all this philosophical junk coming out of our mouths. Hopefully this makes sense. If you have any thoughts about like what it means to have a human to human connection in a world of robots, we would love to hear all about it. And, you know, respond down below, write us an email. Human contact. Human. Mr. Henry, what should the good viewer do for a human contact?
They should go hang out with a friend at a weird bistro.
Yeah, unless they're in an ice storm, then they should shelter in place.
Yes.
Shelter in place if you're in an ice storm. Hey, how about this? If you're in an ice storm and you've got someone in your household that you are like, you know, like we could get a better connection, go figure out, like go to AI. Okay, perfect. Go to AI. Figure out like 5 questions that you can do with that person to have a deeper connection with them. So utilize your robot to help you bridge the human connection. Be well. Take care. I love it too. Have yourself a lovely Saturday, whatever day you watch this video. We love seeing your faces every single week, and we're going to see you again next week. Go Seahawks, NFC champions. I can feel it. Until next week, be well, take care, and goodbye.